This is a Sandy Boy Productions podcast.
Welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast, where we help women remove the overwhelm of living their most holistic life. This is the place to find evidence-based nutrition tactics, healthy lifestyle and wellness tips, abundance mindset, and easily implementable low-tox living strategies so you can rise up to your full potential and protect your family's health. I'm your host, Stacey Heine, certified holistic nutritionist and better living advocate. Now, let's get empowered with some simple swaps that make a big impact for optimal wellness.
All right, before we get into the episode, I have a huge announcement, something I'm so very excited to share with you. And guess what? It's because you know me. I am the girl that is here to help you reduce your environmental toxins, to help you live a more clean lifestyle, to protect the planet, and to feel more confident in your skin, right? And speaking of skin, Beautycounter is offering their Black Friday sale right now, and I want to give you all of the details from body to skincare to cosmetics. The entire site is 20% off. Not only that, but you're gonna get free shipping on $50 orders or more. And if you spend $250, here's the big thing. You get 30% off. So right now is the time to stock up on better beauty. Beautycounter is a B Corporation with equal emphasis put on people, product, and planet. And this is where you want to put your dollars. You want to vote with your dollars and shift the toxic industry to a safer place. And right now is your opportunity to do that. In addition, you're gonna get some really great results from the anti-aging line if that's what you're looking for, or you're gonna have flawless looking skin when you use the cosmetics. Promise you, you will not be sad about the performance. You'll be very blown away, and you'll probably be coming back for more. So with that said, make sure that you add the membership to your cart if you haven't already, and really reap all of the bonuses and the benefits of this sale. Again, this sale only goes through the end of November, so make sure that you stock up and that you take advantage. And don't be afraid to come back for more because of the free shipping on $50 orders. Think about friends, think about family, think about teacher gifts. There's so many different holiday options that you can break up and make the cutest little gifts. I'm doing that with some non-toxic candles and some CBD bath bombs. And I'm just making really awesome little bags and stuff for co-op teachers, in addition to adding our elderberry syrup in there. And I'm gonna give them to our forest school teachers as well. So just think outside of the Beautycounter box and really make some awesome low tox gifts this year. And don't forget to gift yourself, of course. All right, here we are with the episode. Have fun shopping. Well, hello, and welcome to episode 84 of the Urban Pharmacy Podcast. Today's guest is Debbie Adler, who is a plant-based chef, bakery owner, and the award-winning cookbook author of the critically acclaimed Sweet, Savory, and Free, Insanely Delicious Plant-Based Recipes Without Any of the Top 8 Allergens, a Sweet Debbie's Organic Treats, Allergy-free and Vegan Recipes from the famous Los Angeles Bakery, and now she has a new cookbook called The Mediterranean Plate. Debbie is a plant-based cooking and baking instructor, and her popular online course, Plant Powerful Life GPS, Quintessential Health 360, and the complete Plant Powerful Weight Loss System have been taken by hundreds of students worldwide. She has been interviewed on NBC, Nightly News, ABC's Eyewitness News, CBS Los Angeles, and the national superstation WGN. Debbie has been featured in the Los Angeles Times and on NPR's radio show Here and Now. Her recipes have been published in national publications such as Pilates Style Magazine, Naked Food Magazine, Allergic Living, Living Without, Simply Gluten Free, Delight Gluten-Free, Ventura Boulevard, and Low Sugar Living, as well as on popular websites and blogs such as Cosmopolitan, One Green Planet, The Kitchen, Chic Vegan, Austin Food Magazine, and Self. You can find Debbie Adler at Instagram at Plant-Based Debbie Adler and on Facebook at Sweet Debbie Adler. And Debbie is super, super sweet. So those words fit her very well. And I had such a great conversation with her talking not only about vegan baking and her business, but also what it's like to write cookbooks and to be part of such a big change in helping people live a more healthy lifestyle and everything in between. So I really think that you're going to love this conversation. Make sure that you give Debbie a follow and that you get her new book. I, for one, really love Mediterranean food, and I can't wait to see how to make all of the amazing flavors healthy. So here she is, Debbie Adler. Debbie Adler, welcome to the Urban Pharmacy Podcast.
Thank you so much.
Super excited to have you here today, not only because of the amazing plant message that you are sharing with the world, but also because of you and the spark for entrepreneurship to be part of change. I think it's incredibly intriguing, and I want to talk about that today as I go through this interview with you. First off, let's just get started with helping people understand who you are and what you do.
So I am an entrepreneur in the whole food plant-based space where I create courses so people can learn how to bake and cook whole food plant-based, vegan. And I'm also a bakery owner. I own a vegan, plant-based, sugar-free, gluten-free bakery in Los Angeles. And I have meal plans, seasonal meal plans. So people, who don't know what to make for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, whole food plant-based, they could just look at the meal plan. Oh, okay, lunch is this, dinner is that. Oh, these are some snacks. So I do meal plans as well. And that's basically it.
I love it. So good. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about your bakery. You had to shut that down, obviously, during COVID, right?
Oh, yeah, during COVID, yes.
And everything's up and running now back in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Great. Fabulous. I'm glad to know that you made it through and that you guys have persevered. So
yes, thank you.
This is great news. So tell me about your journey to plant-based eating and where that all started for you. And then we'll kind of talk, this might intertwine with your family story as well, and how you kind of started writing recipes.
Well, my journey started back in 2005 or 6. I was hungry for a cupcake and I didn't want it to have sugar. And I went out, I looked in all the health food stores and bakery. There was nothing. It just didn't exist. They used sucralose at the time. And I said, oh, I can't believe I'm going to have to be the one to do this. I wasn't a baker. I wasn't a cook. And I did. I went into my kitchen and I started to just experiment with different sugar substitutes. At the time, the popular thing was xylitol. Mm-hmm. I don't use that anymore, but at the time that was really the sugar alcohols were the most popular thing. And I started to get good feedback from my friends. Oh my God, you should open a bakery. So that was my first foray into the food industry. I did other things before that. I was a CPA on Wall Street. But this was new to me, but I was excited by it because I this is quite a while ago, was very interested in how to make desserts sugar-free. I have a sweet tooth and I knew sugar wasn't good for us. And, that kind of thinking is prevalent now. But at the time, people were saying, oh, get off your high horse. A little sugar doesn't hurt. But we do know that a little sugar adds up and it does hurt. So I was very alone in my thinking at the time, but I opened the bakery anyway. And sure enough, there were a lot of people who were very interested in it and they wanted that. And so that was my first foray. Then in 2008, my son was born with severe and life-threatening food allergies. And one of the first things he anaphylaxed to was casein, which is the protein found in milk. And I couldn't understand why he had these allergies, why 13 or 15 million kids in the United States alone have these allergies, these food allergies. And so I started to do research, and I came upon the China study by Dr. T. Colin Campbell, which talked about this 30-year study in China where they gave the people casein. Casein was the protein they decided to use. And I was over the moon excited that they found nobody should be eating casein, that, let alone if you're allergic to it, because this harms our bodies. It causes prostate cancer, it causes ovarian cancer. And things started to make sense to me that we are rejecting these things that we shouldn't be eating, like dairy, like eggs. That was another thing my son was allergic to. And he talks about the whole food plant-based diet, which is based on eating legumes and, grains and, vegetables and fruits, and that this is a preventative way to not get sick, or if you're sick, to reverse the disease. And I was over the moon excited. I came home, I talked to my husband, who's a physician, and I said, you have to tell your patients about this, because this is the way they will get healthy, let alone, okay, some are diabetic, they need insulin, but maybe they can get off their insulin. I was just like hitting the ceiling, because I went to some conferences where I met Dr. Campbell and Dr. Greger and Dr. Esselstyn, and they talked about this, and they had their patients on the stage with them, and they were saying about their journey, how they got well. And so my husband didn't think, he wasn't there, unfortunately, at the conferences with me, but a year later, a resident of my husband's came up to him and he said, Dr. Adler, I think that we should be talking to our patients about a whole food plant-based diet. And my husband said, oh, talk to my wife. So and then my husband was on board after he heard it from his resident, not from me. So that was my entree into whole food plant-based cooking. And I started to make the meals myself. I started to experiment. By the way, I was vegan already. I had just never liked meat, but the whole food plant-based also excludes salt, oil, and sugar. Mm-hmm. So I eliminated those things. I never had the sugar either, but I incorporated the no oil. So that was a new thing for me, because I was sauteing in oil. I figured out how not to saute in oil, use other things like apple cider vinegar, coconut aminos, carrot juice, anything else, water, anything but oil. And then a year later, after I read the China study, the publisher of the China study published my second book, Sweet, Savory, and Free. And so that, cemented my expertise in the whole food plant-based world. So, people started to know more about me because of the book. And then my followers were asking for Mediterranean. So I said, oh, that's my next book, is Mediterranean, because they don't know how to do it without olive oil, without salt, without the meat, without the fish, without the feta. So that was how I came to this point where I wanted to do a Mediterranean plant-based book.
I love it so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this Mediterranean one is SOS free as well, correct?
Yes. Right.
Okay. Well, I'm curious about olives. Did you get olives into those recipes?
Oh yeah. Olives are fine.
Yeah.
Olives are good. No, it's just the refined oil that they say clogs your arteries and empty calories, no nutrition, but olives are fine.
Yeah. Okay, great. Awesome. So, all right, kind of backing up, what was it like to have a child that could not consume a lot of foods that you had maybe planned on feeding them?
Well, it was hard. It was stressful, because this could mean life or death. Mm-hmm. And so when you have a child that could die of food, you're very, very careful, and you do your research, any mom would, and you make sure you have the safe foods in the house. And then when they go out, like to school, you make sure they have their food with them. And not only that, but it was a whole setup with my child having to sit on the corner of the table, a teacher being the buffer, and then the kids next to the teacher. So the kids' food wouldn't interact with my son's food. It was just, so it's hard, I really feel for people who are going through this, because I went through it, and I talk about it in the past tense because 10 years later, when my son was 10, he got into a protocol at UCLA, which was in conjunction with Stanford, a clinical trial where they gave the kids, the food allergy kids, the allergens in minute quantities, but all at a time. Like you could do 5, you could do 10.
Wow.
We did 5, and he was able to desensitize. My son was able to desensitize to the 5 major allergens that were dangerous for him. And so now he can eat out. We never used to eat in a restaurant. For 10 years. We couldn't go to a restaurant. We couldn't go on a plane. And now those things are available to us. So it's like, this burden just lifted off our shoulders. Mm-hmm. And I could serve other foods. I could have nuts in the house, whereas before I couldn't. So yeah, it's a hard thing.
Yeah. What do you suggest for those who don't have access to that incredible micro dosing like you guys had?
It's all over the country now. They could go to their allergist and ask for it. It is a protocol that has been given. The UCLA Stanford protocol has been shared with every allergist that is willing to take it. So please ask your allergist to send you to a place. If they don't do it, where can you go? What hospital? If it's not their office, what hospital in your area provides it? Because they all do some sort of desensitization protocols now. Fantastic.
So good. I just hear so many parents struggling with food allergies still, and it's not good. What do you think, Debbie, just before I kind of move on from the allergy thing, what do you think causes so many food allergies? Do you have a theory on that?
Yeah, there are a lot of theories, and so everyone has their own theory. Well, we're too clean.
Yeah, right.
I think it's a combination of things. GMOs were introduced into our food system in 1984. Mm-hmm. So in 1984, if you look at the map or a graph, let's say, you see there is a correlation between food allergies and GMOs being put into our food system that goes like this up until today, like a continuous rise. And before 1984, it wasn't that prevalent. Now food allergies are more prevalent because we're messing with our food supply. We're putting in genetically modified things into the soil, and we're eating things that maybe our bodies cannot identify as food. They're thinking, oh, this is a foreign object, I'm going to react to that. So that's part of it, I think. Another part of it that's definitely a contributing factor is if your parents have allergies, not necessarily food allergies, but if they have seasonal allergies, if they had asthma as a child, your chance of having a child with food allergies is exponentially greater because of epigenetics. The genes start to replicate in a more powerful way and express the thing that you had onto them, and then it becomes something else like a food allergy. So I think that's a definite contributing factor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So are all of your books gluten-free?
Yes.
Okay. So
yes, they are.
No gluten in any of them. Okay, great. No. Wonderful. You know me by now. I really like to lean in on natural medicine and herbal immune support, which is why my family and I love to use Organic Green Growers elderberry syrup. Elderberry is an immune modulating herb and one which can be rated super high on the ORAC value, which measures antioxidant capacity. The pre-made elderberry syrup and DIY elderberry syrup kits are blended with anti-inflammatory plants that upgrade the holistic elderberry experience. Visit greengrowers.farm/shop and use code HOLISTIC to enjoy a 20% discount and free shipping today. Thanks to Green Growers Farm for sponsoring this episode. Back to the show. Okay. Speak to me now about what you do at your bakery. What do you guys sell at your bakery? Maybe we have some people that live in LA. And what do you do with your bakery? Do you guys ship?
We ship. Yeah, no, we ship. And so since the end of the pandemic, we are only shipping some cookies and some all granola bars. So every month you can get on my email list because that's how you'll find out about the new flavor of the month. So,
Okay.
like October was pumpkin chocolate chip. Every month, it depends on the season, you'll get an email about what flavor. So that's what we're selling now, it's the granola bars. And then every so often I do a cookie, like in, I think it was April, I did a Hamantaschen, which is a triangular cookie for Purim, which is a Jewish holiday. It's a triangular cookie, and I put in chia jam. Usually, if people put in anything like, chocolate or jelly or apricot, I used chia jam, and it just was so popular. I couldn't believe the response I got. You never know what kind of response you're going to get. I thought it was a very niche type of thing to do hamantaschen. I was very passionate about it because the Ukrainian war had just broken out, and the Polish organizations were helping the refugees, and I thought I want to donate to them to help get the refugees in. So I thought this was a good way to raise money to be able to help the refugees. So that's what I did. The Hamantaschen it was Humanity for Hamantaschen or something like that, and that was my most popular thing that I ever did.
Wow, that's awesome. So, and you've been doing this bakery thing for how long now?
Since 2006.
Wow. That is amazing. Wow. You're approaching the 20-year mark, Debbie. This is crazy. That's awesome. Okay. So you must have a great following now. People know that you create amazing things. Let's stay on the bakery for a second, because I've been an entrepreneur for a while. I used to own a Pilates studio. That was a brick and mortar ownership. So I do understand that in a sense. Can you explain to me what your least favorite part about entrepreneurship is? We have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this.
Oh, okay. I would say maybe doing the books. I'm a CPA, so I feel like I shouldn't have to hire an accountant, so I do the books, and that's a pain. It really is.
Oh, I thought you meant the cookbooks for a minute, and I'm like, what? No, okay, we're talking about the bakery.
Oh, no. Oh no, I love doing the cookbooks.
Yes.
No,
okay.
I mean the accounting.
Oh, yes.
The accounting is very detail oriented, and I mean I'm detail oriented, but the books are. I should be very clear. The accounting that I do is tedious, and that is my least favorite part. When I do it, it's like, it's because it's just for tax purposes and everything like that.
Right.
That's the part, that's not creative.
Yes, for sure. So your most favorite part, is it recipe creating? Yes. So do you do a lot of testing in your own kitchen and then bring it to the bakery? Yeah.
I do. I do the testing in my own kitchen, and I have a lot of stuff in my freezer.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
And that's, so the best gets to the bakery.
Yes. And your family gets to reap the rewards at home, which is great.
Exactly. Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Friends. I'm very generous. Yeah. Give gifts.
Do you have a tip that you could share that you think would be beneficial for anybody that wants to start their own business, regardless if it's a brick or mortar, or regardless if it's something online, or maybe they start selling something at the farmer's market? Because that's what we do. That's what where we started with our stuff. And do you have any insight or any, just like a tip that you would want to share?
Yeah, sure. If you want to start your own business, first have a passion for whatever you're doing, because if you're just doing it to make money, it's not going to work, because it's so hard, and you have to be very persistent. That if you really don't love your product or whatever it is you're selling, even if it's a service, you've got to love it and have the most passion for it that you've ever had for anything, because it won't work. You can't do it for the money. And so that's the first thing. I would say passion will get you through the hard times, and because you'll believe in your product or service so deeply that any naysayers will just, you won't listen to the naysayers, because you'll know, oh no, people need my and talking about that, you should maybe do some research. Maybe you're passionate about it, but maybe other people won't be. And maybe you should do some market research beforehand to find out. If you have an email list, ask them questions. would you be interested in this? Would you buy this if I put it out on the market? If you don't have an email list, ask friends, do some surveys, because you do want to know that people will buy it.
Yeah.
You don't want to put something out there that people just say, what? So you want to make sure there is a market for it, and then have the passion, and then go for it.
Love it. Thank you for that insight. Okay. Can we talk about the two books that you had out currently were called what? Both were the top allergy.
Yeah. Top 8 allergy free. So Sweet Debbie's Organic Treats was my very first book, all based on my bakery. Everything we sold at the bakery, and then some, even more things were in the book than I sold at the bakery. That was the first book. It's all dessert, Sweet Debbie's Organic Treats. Then in 2017, the publisher of the China study approached me to do a whole food plant-based cookbook that was top 8 allergy free.
Got it.
And so that was my second book, Sweet, Savory, and Free. And then recently I did the Mediterranean plate, because people were asking me, I love Mediterranean food, but how do you do it without olive oil? How do you do it without meat? How do you do it without feta? How do you do it without fish? And that was my next project, was the Mediterranean plate, which just came out last Tuesday.
Love it. Yes. So the top 8 allergens, do you know them off the top of your head? No pressure if you don't.
Yeah, no, it's dairy, eggs, wheat, fish, shellfish, what are the last 3? I always
nuts and seeds of some sort.
Nuts, right. Nuts, tree nuts and peanuts.
So did you just use a lot of seeds then to combat that?
Exactly. So as the substitute, like if you want to make a plant-based milk or a plant-based or allergy-free sauce, instead of cashews, you use sunflower seeds. If you want to make a peanut butter without peanuts, you roast the sunflower seeds, and it tastes exactly like peanut butter. Mm-hmm. So little tricks I figured out that you're not going to miss the nuts.
Love it. And with your Mediterranean dishes, now I'm starting to think, because I don't have the book yet, but what would you do for what did you do for like fish? Like, how would you replace that? Are you using mushrooms? Are you using the same types of flavors that would be used on the fish?
Yeah. Right. So if there's a recipe that people like, you figure out, well, okay, so I'll use tofu and I'll bake it, and I'll use the sauce that is used in the conventional recipe, but I'm going to use that sauce on the tofu, and I'm going to, use the herbs and spices and a lemon and maybe some seaweed to make it fishy, and so you figure it out, and you test and you tweak, and then it tastes not exactly, but it tastes very fulfilling and satisfying.
I love that. And are you using tofu for like feta replacement?
Yes. Yes,
that does wonderfully. Are you doing like the trick where you freeze it first?
Not for the feta, no.
Got it.
I don't. No.
Yeah. I feel like I've just seen that it gives a different texture to it.
Oh,
and it creates like, I don't know, more holes in it. It's fascinating. But I have froze tofu before, and it was interesting how it changed the texture. But I think that this is so helpful for people that really want the flavors of their regular comfort foods. Yes. And Mediterranean food is comforting, even though it is quite healthy in a generalized sense. There's also a lot of comfort foods in there. So that brings me to my next question. Do you have pasta dishes in there?
Yes, I do.
Yum.
But I use those pastas that have the beans in it, so it's gluten-free. Yes.
And I just heard of a new Debbie. I don't know if you've heard of this yet, but it starts with a B. I really wish I could say exactly what it's called, but it's actually used the byproduct of like soy milk production. It is actually soy flour. And it's, I believe, the highest protein flour that is out there so far. And supposedly it's great for pastas. So interesting to see if that's going to come out next in the pasta alternative world, but the bean ones have been really good in terms of performance. I feel like edamame pastas, right? And then the lentil pastas. And which one is your favorite?
I like the Bonza ones. They make it with chickpeas.
Oh, with chickpeas. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Can you explain to me maybe your top 3 recipes that are in the book that are your favorite?
Oh, my favorite. Okay.
Yes.
So my favorites are the muhammara, which is a sweet, it's sort of like a hummus, but made with red bell peppers. And it's so good. It's a Syrian spread. It's very popular in the Middle East. And I serve it every time I have company. People devour it. It's just delicious. And then I would say the moussaka with bechamel, with mushroom bechamel, is a favorite. It's so, I don't know, it's sort of like a shepherd's pie meets lasagna. It's just very, very good. It has a layering of eggplant and then lentils, topped with a mashed potato. But I also use cauliflower in the mashed potato. So it's so yummy. And then on top of that is that mushroom bechamel, which is very creamy and mushrooms. And that's very decadent and good. And I would say my chocolate orange biscotti is my favorite dessert. It's just very good to dunk into coffee or tea. And even on its own, it's just so delicious. I can't explain it. It's just like a combination of chocolate and orange, which I love. It's a Greek type of biscotti.
Oh, yeah, that's a great combination. What are your favorite types of flours, Debbie, to bake with? Are you like partial to oat flour? Are you even using oat? Was oat in one of those top allergens, by the way? I know that.
No, no, oats are fine. Oats are not allergenic. Well, I have a mix at my bakery that I came up with that is hot, because at the time in 2006, the only gluten-free flours had rice flour in them. That's it. It was grainy.
Yeah. I remember. I remember when I
remember it was very, very grainy, and it's not the healthiest thing to have tons and tons of rice in your body like that, and it's high glycemic. So I set out to create the Fab Four. I found the best performing gluten-free, high protein, very powdery, luscious flours that performed well in baking. And those were sorghum, millet, quinoa, and tapioca. And I use them in a certain proportion to make a gluten-free, all-purpose flour mix. And that is what I use to bake. Now, in my book, the recent one, the Mediterranean Plate, a lot of recipes I tell you, you know what, use just almond flour for this one. You don't have to make the mix. But certain ones do use the mix. And the recipe for the mix is in the book. So if you make the mix and you have it in your freezer, you could keep it there for a year in an airtight container. So just make it once and then you're done. And then when you need to bake, you just grab it. And, you know, and so I play around with flours in this new book with oat flour, with almond flour. So it's not just that mix.
Awesome. Do you think that this book is good for even beginner cooks, or do you think that you have a little bit of knife skills in the kitchen?
No, I think it's an easy book. It's because I know that a lot of people are very tentative about going into the kitchen and they don't like to cook necessarily. So I didn't want people to be turned off. I mean, that is not my goal. My goal is for there to be entree into this way of life. So I make it as easy as possible. I make it in everything in one pot. I want everyone to cook this way. See, that is my purpose. I just want everyone to know how to do it so they can do it for themselves and their families and then not get sick. So no barrier to entry. If you know how to read, you know how to cook from this book.
Love it. And did you say that there's any breakfasts in that book?
Yes, there's a whole chapter of breakfasts.
Wow. What are some common Mediterranean breakfasts?
Well, you know, my breakfasts are not common. They're avocado toast with veg. I tell you how to make a vegan egg.
Oh,
so if you look at the picture, will they be able to see it?
Yeah. Yeah. For those that watch YouTube. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want anyone to think that this is a real egg because I've had that comment before. This is not a real egg.
Oh my word.
That's my that's my veg. Okay. These are my matcha cotto souffle pancakes.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So I'm not, these are falafel waffles.
Oh yes.
So it's sort of like a take on the Mediterranean, and I just make it my own. Fava bean porridge.
Wow. So good. Lots of protein, lots of beans.
Yeah. So it's like oatmeal, fig oatmeal, figs, Greek, So it's just a play on the Mediterranean, and I just make it my own creative. Oh, you're gonna love this. Spanakopita omelet, no eggs. So things that if you look at the picture, you're gonna think I use eggs, and they're no eggs.
That's amazing. I'm so excited. This is a perfect holiday gift.
Yeah.
And it's just a good gift in general for people that want good flavor, I'm sure. All right, Debbie, is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners in regards to food allergies, cooking, veganizing your meals, entrepreneurship? We kind of bounced around today, but I wanted to just share your energy and share your gifts with the world and let people know about you and make sure that they start following you. And you say you have some programs that can help people.
Yeah. So we'll talk about gifts. I'm giving a gift. If people buy the book, I'm giving away a $200 course where I show them personally in my kitchen on video how to make every single recipe in the book. So that's a gift. So if they purchase it, just send me a screenshot of the order or the receipt, whatever they want, and email it to me at debbie@debbieadler.tv, and I will send them. It's actually a login. They log into my platform, and it's in their library, a course where they get every single recipe made, on video, where I show them how to do it. So that's a gift for everyone who watches this program. And, if anyone ever has questions, I want them to be able to feel free to contact me at that address, or you could follow me on Instagram at plant.base.debbie.adler. And then I do little demo reels there. People could see how I make my things and learn more. Or go to www.debbieadler.tv, where they can opt in and get 18 free recipes right off the bat.
Wow. Lovely. So many good resources to help people get in on the plant game and come over to the green side and experience the health benefits, the energy shifts, and the kindness that it embodies. So thank you so much, Debbie. We appreciate you. We will make sure to have all of your resources in the show notes. And I can't wait to get my hand on that book. It sounds delicious. I'm like souffle, that I can't get that off my mind. That sounds really great. So I'm excited.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
I'm over here cheering you on because you just finished another episode of The Urban Pharmacy. For today's show notes, head on over to theurbanpharmacy.com and be sure to join us inside our private Facebook group called The Urban Pharmacy, where we share inspiration, live trainings, and holistic living tips to help you build community and the healthy lifestyle that you've always wanted. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Before we connect again on the next show, follow me on Instagram at The Urban Pharmacy. That's urban with an H and pharmacy with an F. And I can't wait to hear your wellness journey as we get to know each other better. There's truly no better time than now to level up your life. And I am so proud of you for showing up today. Until next time, be well, Health Crusader.